gears or bend them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just not going to work.
You probably know a lot more practical stuff than they know. If they are looking at putting bicycle parts on their car, they are way...
That's what I was thinking. I was like, they need to think about this. What they need to have is one of those variable transmissions that keeps the RPM at the same RPM, but it ramps up the gear. So it's like a cone kind of spool.
Yeah.
And it just ramps up the gear, the resist or the gear, but it keeps the same RPM. So you're using the same amount of gas. You just get up to that 20 miles an hour mark, and then you coast, and then it would keep it back in 15, and it would gear it itself to it depending on what it needs to do.
See, I think that's you said it's all about the weight and the aerodynamics, but I think you also hit on the third thing that it is it's the gearing and the transmission and the all those components that transfer the power.
Well, the only question I have is like, do you know what ratios you're working with? Like, they don't know what size of wheel they want to work with or anything. And I'm just like, compression, there's a lot of things that go into a motor. If you have a lot of torque, you can run a lower gear and lower RPM. And
those are the mechanical engineering questions they should be asking.
Yeah, you have to know all these. You have to know what the motor is putting out and what's capable of doing, and your gear and your target range you want to set for the RPM and the speed and what wheel size and all that stuff. Are you videotaping me?
No, I'm videotaping you, Boonie.
Oh,
but that reminds me of when I was in charge of building the Chemi car. It was a disaster.
Yeah. Why?
Because I did not, and I still don't really have a great grasp on, the mechanics of power transfer.
Yeah.
And, you can make the best chemical reaction, but I remember going to the hardware store and buying, like, wooden wheels and wooden dowels to try to put on this car. And there was, like, so much friction. I tried to make, like, a belt that would drive these wooden components, and it was just a disaster. Nothing worked. It was terrible. It was terrible. And I remember like standing in Ace Hardware trying to
visualize this.
I was like, which keychain in the checkout aisle can I use to drive my car? It was terrible. So obviously these people are idiots like I am.
At least it makes you feel